One Piece chapter 1016. Now, this chapter definitely set a very distinct tone that we've seen from other One Piece arcs, whereas things are moving and are approaching the climax, especially in the beginning of this chapter, in which we come to see the inhabitants of Wano, specifically the Flower Capital. And here they are basically having the most fun that they can, given that this is the only time that they can. But unbeknownst to them, chaos and horror is headed their way. We know that Onigashima is approaching and should be on land right now based on the previous chapters, probably towards the shore side of Wano, but it is a looming threat that no one on Wano is currently aware of, and when it lands, you can definitely guarantee that chaos will follow suit. But we also know that someone has to stop this, and whoever stopped this will become the savior of Wano, as this will be an action that will be seen by the entirety of Wano. And honestly, it is a very good chance for Momonosuke to save his people and also the legacy of Oden, by showing the people that you are and will become the Shogun of Wano and its protector. Now, it could also be Luffy that stops Onigashima here, but for story purposes, Momo has to be the one to do it, or perhaps both Luffy and Momo working in tandem could work as well. It would be ridiculous if Momo does nothing throughout the entire thing, but this is a moment that I think a lot of us are looking forward to, because we would see Momo breaking out of his shell and becoming someone much greater, and perhaps even greater than Oden himself. The first couple of pages were very interesting, as it almost highlights the calm before the storm, in which a battle is going to take place on top of the Flower Capital, but with the citizens of Wano being both spectators and also hostages as well. But before we keep going, guys, I would appreciate it if you dropped a like on this video. Let's get those likes up, and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Now, moving on, we have the Cypher Pole, who are spectating in the chain of events that is currently taking place on Onigashima. Now, it is said here that 5,000 individuals have been defeated, which puts the odds of the alliance at 24,000 versus 3,000. But because of Otama's ability, that has changed due to the enemies that she converted into allies, which ultimately brings it to about 20,000 versus 7,000. And this comes as a shock to the CP0, as the disparity between the forces is shrinking, more so in the favor of the alliance, as they are continuously getting more allies from Otama. So things aren't as bleak as they were before, as the alliance was at a massive disadvantage beforehand. Even though they had more quality over quantity, the difference in numbers at that point in time was too vast to actually make quantity matter. So we're seeing things change drastically for the alliance here. It's actually crazy that this is all possible due to one Devil ability. Otama's presence in Wano has definitely changed things for the better. If this keeps up, it is very likely that Otama is going to convert more people to eventually overcome the numbers of Kaido's crew, but it's obviously not going to be that easy. Now, we get a brief scene here with Bao Huang, in which she receives news about Momonosuke falling off of Onigashima. And so now their plan of action is to relay that information to the main floor, in hopes that this news will break the spirits of the samurai. Now, with Momo falling into the ocean, it is very likely that he will return with the use of his Devil Fruit ability, his dragon powers with the dragon flames. We know that he has a massive fear of heights, so this is obviously going to be a first step for Momo to take. And there's also the possibility that he might return to Onigashima with Luffy. Right now, we don't know if Luffy has the means of returning by himself. It is possible that he could use Gear 4 and fly up there, but I think given his current condition, it makes more sense for Momo to take him up there while Luffy conserves his strength for his fight against Kaido, because he's going to need all of that power. This is actually very reminiscent of Luffy versus Doflamingo, in which Guts sort of played a role in helping Luffy move around before he returned to the battle. But I cannot imagine what sort of transformation or form Luffy has developed for Kaido, because he's obviously gone through some sort of realization when he was in the water, because he literally had his own spirit tell Momonosuke that he was coming back while being out of consciousness, right? So we can expect some crazy power up from Luffy here once he returns, because with what he has right now, it's not going to be enough. And I also expect the same for Kaido, in which his hybrid form is not going to be enough to hold this new form of Luffy, or this new realized form of Luffy. And I think this is where we might see what an awakening looks like for a mythical Zoan, especially a mythical Zoan of Kaido's caliber, right? A Yonko. So I imagine that this would be a battle on another level than we've seen before. with both of them trading blows with all their might. But I do think that this would result in Luffy perhaps exhausting his lifespan because he may be tapping into a power that he has no control over. And this is usually the case when Luffy develops new forms or abilities on the spot. And it would kind of tie into the Hawkins prediction about a certain individual having a 1% chance of survival. That individual might be Luffy, and the cause of that might be him tapping into this new power. Haki has a limit. Even though your spirit might be unlimited, the body has a physical limit. Now we deviate to Nami's side of things, in which, as expected, Zeus managed to survive his impending death from Hera, and here he basically states that he was only able to survive because Nami extended her Climact into Hera, which ultimately resulted in Zeus getting the chance to enter Nami's Climact and become a homie. And this combination of homie and technology is honestly overpowered. Nami has become an incredibly powerful asset to the crew now, and not only just in terms of utility but also ability as a fighter. She basically has the perfect weapon, and since Zeus is attached to Nami now, the ability is now permanent. So regardless of Big Mom's presence here or not, Zeus will not switch sides. Now we come to see the return of Oti here, in which she is still after Otama because she knows that Otama is the reason that the forces are changing sides, and obviously Nami is furious with how Otama has been treated here, and so we come to see a pretty cool tag team effort from Nami and Usopp. Usopp uses a pop green to separate Otama from Oti, which gave Nami the chance to attack with a thunderbolt, which decimates Oti. Now what's really scary about Nami's attacks now is that she can't really miss because her attacks are now pretty much sentient, in which she can just redirect Zeus to attack you again. So when it comes to dodging, Nami has no issues with that now because her attacks would just follow you from now on. And so this upgrade for Nami is actually incredible because I can imagine how easy it's going to be for Nami when the Straw Hats do get into sea battles. Oh yeah, she can also fly as well, so that's a bonus. Now with Oti out of the way, they were able to subdue Bao Hong and take control over the transmitter, in which Otama may have something to say, not sure what, but it might be important for the overall battle as she has control over about 4,000 gifters. So her speaking here might actually give the gifters on her side more morale or something of that sort. Now we finally end off the chapter with Yamato and Kaido. Now not much content here as it was pretty much the last pages of the chapter, but the fight between the two did start with them having a clash, and I think this basically confirms Yamato potentially being a Conqueror's Haki user because the clash that we see here had a similar effect to the one that Kaido and Luffy had previously. So it seems that she also has this new level of Conquerors as well. Now she does state that she cannot beat Kaido, but her whole purpose here is to stall Kaido before Luffy gets back. Now I do think that we're going to get a bit more of Kaido's character here and how that relates to Yamato. So that's going to be very interesting, and I think a lot of us are looking forward to that because I feel like there's a blank space in terms of that whole plot line. Now Kaido's words here are also very interesting because he basically confirms a suspicion that I had beforehand, because I always found it weird that Kaido created his stronghold next to Wano. And again, it makes a lot more sense now because he seemingly knows about Joy Boy based on the previous chapters. He also hailed from a crew whose captain was deep into these things, and he also knows that there's something special about Wano. So again, Kaido is unexpectedly deep into the affairs of things like the Void Century and the War Government. He seems to know a lot more than what is shown, and maybe his plan to make Onigashima the new Wano has something to do with that. I think those two things are definitely correlated. But that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Comment down below what you guys think. I would appreciate it if you dropped a like on this video. Definitely pushes me into the algorithm a lot more. And subscribe for more One Piece content on this channel. Follow me on Twitter at PharaohSpace. But it is Pharaoh, guys, and I will see you folks later. Peace.